everybody, it's me, Jill, and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Season 10, Episode 12, Roman Rumors. All right, this one should have been called Bravo, Bravo, Bravo. So we left off last week with Teddy telling Rinna in the car as soon as they land in Rome everything that Brandi told her and Kyle the night before. Rinna's like, how does Brandi know this? And they said, well, Brandi is close to Denise. Then we see a picture of May 2019, and it was upstate California where Denise was filming and Brandi had come to do the podcast. So, I mean, at least this is proof that part of her story is true. Obviously, it doesn't prove anything that happened, but at least we know Brandi was there. So Teddy goes on to tell her that, they were together, and the next morning, Denise said, you cannot tell my husband about this. He'll kill me. And Brandi got very upset because Brandi thought they had an open marriage and that Aaron was A-okay with this. Also, Brandi hates cheaters, and now she felt like Denise turned her into a cheater without her knowing it. So Rinna goes, Brandi and Denise. This is so annoying. Kyle and Teddy both gasp and cover their ears like, oh, my virgin ears. Excuse me. A, you're the one that's telling the story. And B, what exactly is so offensive to both of you? The language that Rinna used, because I'm pretty sure you guys all talk like that. Or was it the fact that Brandi and Denise slept together? And if that's the case, I would like to remind you both, you are the ones telling the story. You already know that part. Side note, actually, it's just Teddy that's telling the story. Yeah, Kyle is being very suspiciously quiet. My guess is that if this comes out later, she can refer back to it and say, I'm not the one that told Lisa Rinna. Let's just have Teddy do all the dirty work. And for some reason, Teddy is willing to do it, which that I don't understand. Meanwhile, Erica and Dorit are planning what they're going to do in Rome and looking at all the sights out the windows. It's so innocent and compared to what's happening in the other car. It's kind of a funny juxtaposition. Back in the other car, Rinna reminds us that she is not exactly a Brandi superfan, but she doesn't know how to determine what's true or what isn't. And she's like, I don't know where to put this. Well, how about you don't put it anywhere? Because, newsflash, it does not concern you. I mean, it doesn't concern any of these women what Brandi and Denise did or didn't do with each other. And if they're going to try and tie that into this, speaking about adult things in front of her children, I'm not having that. Two entirely separate things. Even if I had a friend in real life who acted like the morality police all the time, but in private I knew that they were having an affair, I still wouldn't say it in a public way or in any way where it could possibly get back to her children, like on a TV show. I might be angry enough to confront her privately about it. I'm not saying I wouldn't do that. Okay, so they get to this beautiful hotel, and I guess because Rinna planned this trip, I mean, that's so arbitrary. I think Bravo just picks somebody, and if you've been on the show long enough, you get to be the one that plans the trip, and therefore gets the big, beautiful presidential suite or whatever it is. So this time it's Rinna, and her room is, of course, gorgeous, and she has a beautiful, huge terrace overlooking the Vatican, and it's really pretty. You guys, Dorit has 5 suitcases. 5. Yeah. So I guess it's not just an overnight. It's probably a whole weekend. Okay, so now the ladies are going to all go out for a drink together, and they're kind of getting ready in their rooms. And Kyle calls Dorit and asks her how she's dressing. And Dorit said, I'm wearing a white shirt, black pants, and a black flat boot. And Kyle goes, okay, so casual? And she goes, yeah, a casual look. Oh, but wait. We cut to Dorit sitting in a chair in her room, dripping in Chanel, head to toe, with one of her glam squad gluing individual pearls, one by one, along her hairline. That is Dorit's casual look. Oh, oftentimes when I'm going to the grocery store, I will glue a few jewels onto my face. Just in a casual way. Okay, so Rinna, Teddy, Kyle, Erica, and Dorit head out in the car. I guess they're in two cars. In the car with Rinna and Teddy, Rinna tells her, I'm just still reeling from what you girls told me earlier. I don't know how I'm going to approach Denise. Why approach Denise at all? Doesn't concern you. Don't know why you have to approach Denise. I mean, earlier, Kyle and Teddy were telling her that she's your friend and you should be the one to tell her. Teddy says, I don't know her that well, so Rinna should be the one to give her a heads up that this is coming out. Okay. So I see how they're going to frame this now. It's not gossip, it's just we're trying to give you a heads up so you can get on top of this rumor that's out there. All right, once they're sitting down, Garcelle calls Kyle, I think, and she tells her that she and Denise just landed and they're going to head over to the hotel and get settled in. Kyle's like, okay, we're just having a drink. And she goes, all right, well then I think, we're tired. I think we're just going to meet you guys in the morning then. Side note, this place they're having drinks is very cute. It's like a little outdoor thing. And it is right across the street from the Coliseum. It is so interesting to me how these things that are so old are right next to modern buildings. And did I mention that I would like to go someday? All right, so Rinna wants to play a game where they ask each other questions. I guess because it went so well at Kyle's house when they played. Anyway, the question is, what is the most trouble you've ever gotten into as a teenager? And just as Kyle is telling a horrifying story of how her mother called a family meeting after she found out that Kyle had sex for the first time. Yeah, that's not damaging at all. We hear, surprise! And it's Denise and Garcelle. Yeah, they showed up after all. They came right from the airport. Both looking great, by the way. Everyone's hugging and kissing and... Did I say everyone? Teddy is just sitting there looking terrified. I don't know if she thinks someone's gonna say something right then and there to Denise. I don't know. I have no idea, but she does not look happy. It's probably just because she's not happy with Denise, period. Because according to Brandy, she said some pretty bad things about her. All right, anyway, nothing else really interesting happens. Garcelle is wondering if she can have Thanksgiving with both Chocolate Michael and Vanilla Michael. So, I don't know. She's getting people's opinions on whether that's a good idea. I mean, I would say usually not, but who knows? She gets along great with her ex-husband, so maybe it's okay. The next morning, Rinna calls Garcelle to fill her in on what they're going to do that day. They are going to the Spanish Steps, and then they are going shopping. So everyone's together except for Sutton, who's having some kind of issue with her passport, but she's coming later that day. They see two churches next to each other, and Rinna has an interesting story about how one of the churches was struck by lightning the day that The Exorcist premiered. Everyone's like, ooh, really? And Denise goes, I believe in that stuff because I recently found out that our house was built on a burial ground. And apparently Eloise sees dead people under her bed. In Denise's confessional, she said, the spirits who've crossed, they want us out. And I know people are going to think I'm cuckoo nuts, but there is some truth to that. Okay, the only thing that is cuckoo nuts is that you haven't already gotten out. I'm sorry. If you believe in it and your girls are seeing dead people, I'm calling the realtor, like pronto. I don't believe in that kind of stuff, but if I was actually witnessing things like seeing dead people, I would be getting on board real quick. Anyway, they're having fun. They see this King Tut statue. It turns out to be a real person. He moves and scares them all. And Garcelle said she was afraid Teddy would give birth. Okay, so now Sutton is in Rome. She's on her way to meet the ladies at the Spanish Steps. I guess she needed to get a new passport, and then they were able to expedite it, but she was afraid she would have to charter a private plane. In her confessional, she said, they were able to expedite it. Otherwise, I'd have to charter a private plane. And we're talking, I don't know, a dress or two. She goes, it would have hurt. It wouldn't have stopped me, but it would have hurt. Yeah, the fact that chartering a private jet from California to Rome would be the same cost as a dress or two, that hurts me. All right, now we are shopping. And I'm not going to lie, these stores are fabulous. They all go into a Fendi store. Fendi, not Fenty. So Sutton was okay with that, I guess. And Garcelle is trying on this fur coat. And she's like, how much is it? And the clerk goes, this is not important. Yeah, it was $30,000. Garcelle goes, yeah, I guess if you have to ask, you can't afford it, right? Pretty much. Denise is trying on boots and they're not in her size. So she goes over to Teddy and she tells her, none of the boots are my size. And Teddy's like, she's like scrolling through her phone. Bummer. Like she does not want anything to do with Denise. In her confessional, the producer asks her, are you subconsciously avoiding Denise? And Teddy said, I'm just trying to steer clear of her without seeming like I'm a jerk. So that would be a yes. Actually, no, she's not subconsciously doing it. She's just doing it. So we're leaving Fendi and the totals are in. Erica spent $3,950. Sutton spent $3,275. Lisa spent $3,200. And Kyle spent $8,750. And we didn't see a single thing. We just saw a shopping bag. So I don't know what she bought. Erica bought a jacket. Sutton bought a purse. Lisa bought that dress. And maybe a matching coat. I'm not sure. And we didn't see any of Kyle's purchases. All right, now they're at the Trevi Fountain, and they all get their picture taken, throwing a coin in over their shoulder. That was about it for the day. Now it's evening, and they're all getting ready in their rooms for dinner that evening. They're having dinner at the hotel restaurant. So far, it looks like Dorit, Erica, and Sutton have brought glam, and the others are doing it on their own. Except for Rinna is in Erica's room, so I think she's kind of borrowing her glam squad. Teddy is in her room. I think she's trying to call home, but she's like, looks all morose and sad. And you know Teddy, who doesn't need an apology because I don't need it. I don't care. You know, she doesn't care about anything. Yet she's so distraught that Denise doesn't like her, that she's letting it affect the whole trip. You know what? I don't have a problem with someone being sensitive. I'm sensitive too. The thing I have a problem with is her pretending she's not. Just skip that part. It's okay. You can be sensitive. People hurt your feelings. That's okay. Just don't pretend like nothing matters to you all the time. All right, we are at the hotel restaurant now. The ladies are seated at a long table. Denise and Garcelle got there first, and they both sit on opposite sides of each other at the end. And then all the rest of the ladies arrive. Sutton is the last one because she had her glam, and then Kyle's already getting kind of irritated about that. Then they order, and Sutton takes a sip of her wine and makes this like horrible face. And she's like, it's not very good. So the guy is going to bring her another one. But Garcelle starts to make a joke about, ooh, when Sutton's not happy. And Sutton goes, Garcelle, I'm just going to be truthful with you because I really like you and I enjoy our friendship. But I was a little put off by you asking me where all my money came from. And right away, Erica goes, I married mine. Yeah, we know. I don't think that needed to be said, Erica. You were a waitress when you met him. And we also saw the strip club you worked at, so... Anyway, Garcelle goes, hey, I'm blunt. That's who I am. Always. To a fault sometimes. And you know what, Sutton? I apologize. Sutton accepts her apology, and so then Garcelle said, all right then, so have we ironed out all our issues now? We all good? Oh. You don't even know the half of it, Garcelle. We are not all good. So that's all Teddy needs because she can't take it another minute. And she goes, ugh, guys, I need to say something because I'm awkward. Yes, you are. And I'm breathing heavy. That could be the 14 months pregnant, but go on. What's interesting is the camera cuts to Denise, and the look on her face, it looks like she knows what's about to be said. Anyway, Teddy said, Denise, someone told me some horrible things that you said about me. And Denise goes, what horrible things? Teddy, who is actually tearing up at this point, said that you can't stand me, I'm pathetic, and I'm desperate to fit into this friend group because I've been living in my father's shadow my entire life. Now the widow Jane's eyes get really big. Side note, I would have said the widow Girardi, but that felt a little too close to the truth, so I made the choice to use her stage name. Anyway, Denise denies having said anything negative whatsoever, and Teddy goes, you didn't say those things to Brandy Glanville? Denise goes, no, I did not. In Denise's confession cam, she's like, Brandy Glanville is your source? Anyway, Denise just denies it all. She hasn't seen her very often. She denies having called her before Kyle's party. Dorit, in her confessional, said, I don't know Brandy, but the first and only time I met her, she told me that my tits were f***ed up. So wrong. So wrong of Brandy. Somehow, just hearing Dorit retell it, I don't know, it's absurd, and I find humor in the absurd. So all Denise will admit to is that she did her podcast about 6 months ago, and she's only talked to her a couple times since. So now Rinna, who was the other person named, Rinna and Erica, by the way, now Rinna said, Denise, did you talk about me? And she goes, no. Rinna goes, would you tell me if you did? And Denise said, yes, I would. And Rinna goes, did you say anything about Erica? Erica stares at her. And she goes, no. Erica takes about a 2-second beat, and then she looks at Teddy and she goes, what did she say about me? Oh. So finally, Teddy wises up and turns to Kyle and said, well, you were there too. Thank you, Teddy. Why does Kyle get to sit back and watch this like a spectator? Keeping her hands clean. It's not right. So Kyle said, well, Brandy said that you told her that you thought Erica was a cold bitch and you didn't like her. And Denise goes, I never said that. So Dorit said, is it possible that she made it up? At least Dorit is trying to open up the possibility that what Brandy is saying is not the gospel truth. I mean, it's probably because she told her tits were fucked up, but you know, at least we're presenting another side to the story. Teddy said, well, I don't know why she would. And then I think she asked her, did she give specific details? And she said, yeah, she was very specific about the details. And she was very upset. So then Garcelle goes, Brandy was upset? And Denise is like, why? Teddy's like trying for a minute to not bring up the part of this story that is nobody's business. But no, she can't resist. So she said, Denise, because of what happened when she went to see you for her podcast. And Denise goes, nothing happened. She interviewed me and my cats. All right, side note, guys. Denise isn't acting totally innocent. I know she's caught off guard. Otherwise, I think her acting chops could have probably gotten her out of this a little bit better. But, you know, there are like certain little things that are catching my ear. Earlier, they asked her, you didn't call Brandy before the party? And she just said no. If it were me, I would have said, what party? So it was like she knew exactly what party they were talking about. I don't know. Part of this could be editing, of course, you guys. They could have been editing out certain things, so I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt there. But this is another thing that if I knew nothing about what they were talking about, I don't think I would have answered the same way Denise answered. So when she said she's upset because of what happened when she did your podcast, I don't think I would say, nothing happened. I think I would just say, what happened during the podcast? Like that. You know what I mean? Instead of just denying that anything happened at all, it makes it seem like Denise knows exactly what happened, but she's not going to be the one to say it, and she's just going to deny. Anyway, now Seton asks Teddy, how do you know this? And Teddy said, because she came and told us. Denise goes back to saying, I never said anything negative about anyone. Time out. Okay, you guys, we know that's not true because when they left the party at Erica's house, she was in the car with Rinna and Garcelle, and she was kind of going off on Kyle. And at the time, I kept thinking, oh, girl, not in front of Rinna. Do not talk about somebody behind their back to Rinna. My point is, we know that you have talked about some of these women behind their back. And you know, who hasn't? But to just blanketly say, I've never talked about anybody ever. Come on. So Erica goes, so Brandy's lying? And Denise goes, yeah. And Rinna said, why would she? Denise said, I have no idea. If I had something to say, I would say it. So now Kyle goes, well, Brandy told us a lot. And by the way, whatever happened or between you and her, like that's between you guys. And everyone's like, just tell us what it is. And Rinna, who knows what it is, said you guys should just tell. So you don't have to, I guess. But also, no, wrong advice. That part of the story did not have to be told. Or retold, rather. In Rinna's confessional, she goes, why am I not going to be the one to tell Denise? One word, Munchausen. Yeah, we get a flashback to Rinna looking up the definition of Munchausen on her phone in front of Kyle and Lisa Vanderpump. Yes, as it pertains to Yolanda and her Lyme disease. That one backfired on her. So now at the table, Denise said, we're not trying to hurt you, Denise. And Garcelle goes, do you want to know? And Denise goes, I have no idea what she said. Garcelle goes, yeah, I know. So do you want to know? And Denise said what I think was pretty honest. She said, if this is a dangerous area, then no, not on camera. So then Teddy said, but it's already on camera. I'm warning you because there's going to be more. I don't know what she meant about that, but like, she's right about what Brandy has already said. Cat's out of the bag with that. So, I mean, I guess there really isn't much of a point of not saying it now, other than I would not put Denise on the spot. I don't think that was right. I think somebody should have told her privately off camera, this was said on camera, it's going to come out. You better try and figure out how to get on top of it. Anyway, what Denise says next is another one of those things that don't make sense to me if she didn't know. After Teddy said, I'm telling you this because Brandy already said stuff on camera, Denise said, and I'm telling you there's no truth to that. To what, Denise? Nobody said it yet. So Teddy's response was, so you already know what it is? And Denise kind of stammers a little bit. And she goes, to nothing. There's no truth to anything. Oh, God. She's been hanging out with Aaron too much. When I was 12 years old, I lived across the street from a nuclear plant. And now life as we know it has no meaning. And there's no truth to anything. But that felt like a little slip to me. And I'm still basically on Denise's side with this. I'm disgusted by a pileup of everybody kind of being against her. Dorit does not seem to be against her. Sutton does not seem to be against her. But the core, the Kyle, Teddy, Erica, Rinna, that feels like a strong gang coming at you. I don't like that. Anyway, Garcelle said to Teddy, just say it then. Meaning, if Brandy already said it on camera, then just say it. Garcelle's like, why won't you just say it? And Teddy goes, because it's really bad, Garcelle. And Dorit goes, but why are you torturing her then? So Teddy goes, Denise, I'm not going to torture you anymore. Brandy said you two had sex. Denise goes, what? Shocked looks around the table. Well, not from the ones who already knew. Then Teddy said, I'm sorry, I didn't think it was my place to say. Then why did you? You were not forced. You could have stood your ground and said to any of the ladies there, that part didn't involve me, so it's not my story to tell. Anyway, Garcelle, who, is blunt to a fault, looks at Denise and said, did you have sex with her? And Denise is like, no, I did not. So Kyle said, Brandy said that you and Aaron had an understanding. And Denise said, about what? Aaron was there. And Kyle said, well, that Aaron was there? She's like trying to think, he came, well, like, oh, well, maybe it was a different day or, but I had 3 kids there and, oh, Denise, this is not looking good. It's making it look like there is truth to what Brandy said, which I already told you guys. I think there probably was. The part that I struggled with, and I know some of you guys struggled with too, because you mentioned it in the comments, was not that it happened, but that Brandy kind of portrayed Denise as not only the instigator, but then this sort of trickery of making Brandy think it was okay with Aaron, and then after the fact telling her, don't say anything, he'll kill me, and making her complicit in something that was wrong then, whereas Brandy never would have done it if she thought it was wrong. I think that part of the story is Brandy trying to feel okay about what she did and to, manipulate the story to make her seem as innocent as possible. Whether they had sex or not, I barely care if that happened. It only bothers me because Denise was married, and I don't think that's cool. For sure, the way Brandy told the story, that does not look good for Denise. So that's the part of the story I'm not sure if it's true or not. So anyway, Kyle said, well, Brandy was under the impression that it was okay with Aaron, and then the next day was told something different, and then she freaked out. And Denise goes, are you f***ing kidding me? And Garcelle said, why would she be out to get you? And Denise is like, I have no idea. So then Dorit, I don't entirely understand what Dorit was saying at this point. My interpretation of it was that Dorit was trying to tell Denise, look, this got out there. Brandy said this in front of cameras the other day. So I think what these ladies are doing is they're trying to give you an opportunity to say something about it. Like, take the opportunity to say something, to make it better, or tell your side or something. I mean, I guess she is telling her side. Her side is that it didn't happen at all. But if it can be proven, I don't know. Maybe she just thinks if there's no proof in a she said story that she would come off more believable than Brandy Glanville. I mean, she's not wrong. She's not wrong about that. But also, knowing Brandy, she probably has something, pictures or some kind of proof. I don't know. It just doesn't look great for Denise. Anyway, what happens is Denise is now crying, or her eyes are welling up, and she said, I am going through so much stuff right now, like unrelated to any of you ladies or this show or anything. And bravo, bravo, bravo. She's looking around the room, and Dorit goes, honey, you have to stop saying that. And Denise goes, I don't want to be the person that leaves the room all the time, but I am floored by this information. And please do not air this, please. I'm begging you, please. It isn't true. So she's completely breaking the fourth wall here. We're seeing more and more of this. Ramona did it last week at her birthday party. In Teddy's confession cam, she said, every time Denise doesn't like the way the conversation's going, she says, bravo, bravo, bravo. I guess theoretically that would make it impossible for the editors to use the scene without breaking the fourth wall. But again, everybody's doing it now, so I think bravo, bravo, bravo is not going to work. We all know you're on a Bravo show anyway, so. And we all know that that little trick didn't work this time. Again, Kyle is telling Denise, whatever your story is with Brandy, we don't care. Good one, Kyle. Denise said, there is no story. I am a very married woman, and I love my husband to death. Yikes. That sounded threatening, didn't it? Then Erica goes, you don't have to explain yourself, honey. Oh, really, Erica? Because I'm pretty sure y'all set it up so that's exactly what she had to do. She was on the hot seat, and she had no choice but to explain herself. So then Sutton, and I love that she said this, she said to Teddy, so do you care more about what's being said about you or about Denise? And Teddy's like, it's none of my business, the Brandy and Denise part of it. I didn't even want to say all that. And she kind of gets mad at Sutton, and Sutton goes, don't get mad at me. You know what? Don't talk to me like that. I know I'm new and I don't understand everything about how this works, but you didn't need to bring that up. Then, in Sutton's confessional, she tells us that a friend of hers told her months ago the rumor of Denise and Brandy having sex. Sutton never said a word. Now, why would I bring up a rumor about who slept with who? And especially at the dinner table. It's not right. I love it. Dorit now oddly defends Teddy and as an overthinker, and she said, you haven't been sleeping well, and Teddy admits that, yes, she's had trouble sleeping. And Dorit goes, and Teddy got something off her chest tonight. And now Kyle interrupts her and said, oh, no offense, but she's struggling a lot too right now, pointing to Denise. Now apparently Kyle is Denise's defender. Well, Dorit now is annoyed with Kyle for interrupting her, telling her that was rude. You didn't let me finish, Kyle. I care about Denise more than you do. Ooh, gloves are off, people. I'm sure that Denise is thrilled that the conversation has turned into little arguments between Sutton and Teddy and Kyle and Dorit. Takes the heat off of her for like a split second. Kyle's like, it's not a competition. And Teddy goes, we can't wrap up this conversation in a nice, neat bow. We're not going to get any closure here. So they all get up from the table and they suggest going to the bar for drinks. Denise declines, surprise, surprise. And she said, no, I have to go back to my room and call my lawyer. Rinna tells her she should call Brandy, and she's like, I'm not going to do this right now, Rinna. And Dorit goes, Denise, Bravo's not going to cut that scene. And Denise goes, no, if they ever want me to be on this show again, they need to cut that. And that's the end of this episode. And I guess we know what decision Bravo made because we all just saw the scene. Yeah, you guys, what do you think? I absolutely don't like the way they're handling this, but I also don't like the way Denise is handling it. Don't lie. I'm sure her mind is going a mile a minute trying to figure out what she's going to do here. Maybe she's worried about Aaron finding out more than anything else. Maybe she's worried about her kids now finding out. I will say one thing. If you're going to agree to be a housewife, you really should watch the prior seasons. Like, that should be mandatory because nobody gets to keep things secret. Not really. I suppose there are some big things that have never been told on Bravo. And like I said before, I do think there are lines that the ladies won't cross, like we're never going to talk about our finances or we're never going to do this. But even that got crossed with Camille and Dorit last season. I mean, I don't know anybody that doesn't have any skeletons in their closet. So I think the question has to be, are you okay with your skeletons coming out? Because they will eventually. I don't know how much money would make it worth it. Anyway, thank you guys very, very much for joining me. Please subscribe if you haven't already. About half of the views I get on my videos come from subscribers. So that means half of you have not subscribed yet. What are you waiting for? No, it would be great for me. It helps my channel a lot. Also, please engage by giving this video a thumbs up if you liked it and commenting down below. And I will be back next week with the next recap of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And I hope you join me. Wash your hands and wear a mask. Bye.